fine. She'll be fine. Kazuma Sogi. Yes, it's definitely how I want to start this case. I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie, but still, there's no doubt that you were in fact there, and you attacked the man. So I really, and he didn't lie when it came to that, so... Oh! He didn't lie that he was there. He chose silence when asked if he attacked him, so... That you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. Already ended to go so deep.
During the past 30 minutes while the court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended.
Did you not get a telegram for Sherlock and from Sherlock and Mikotoba?
But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion.
Why are you all suddenly husky?
We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already gotten the deed.
Wait! We have the information and everything. What do you mean? I'm pretty sure this evacuation drill is like setting up for a window of time. This will link Gregson's body. God damn, that pocket watch is doing so much for his character the entire case. Oh. And this it connects Gregson's body to the briefcase.
There's no sense in wasting any more of this court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Well, then to here's you now, brother. No, the trial cannot end now.
You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword.
Shut the fuck up! Coming from you! I mean, I guess he does know what to apologize, but... Did he now? Did he now? And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. Eat.
The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. And there can only...
Hi, CFOs! Kazuma is being mean to me. Another day, another slay. Ah. I'm laughing because Kazuma literally just said, "You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword." Coming from him, that's rich.
And there can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty.
All relevant testimony, far from it. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court is yet to hear a single word of testimony. Are they literally just bringing him in?
In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. What? Kazuma is he really is. The whites have infected him. The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow. We can't delay the trial, can we?
Who on earth is this crucial witness?
Seishiro Jigoku. Oh, it is? Okay, yes. Easy that better?
The very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jigoku, you found him?
I was just I'm pretty sure Ryu has a turn for the theatrics now after spending so much time with Van Ziggs. Instead of just saying, "We found him, it's okay, no worries," it's just, I have a card up my sleeve." I really love this. Shut the fuck up.
But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead.
Jesus! Your police suck! What do you mean already dead? Hi, Vinyl! I mean, I like the idea that... I like the idea that Ryunosuke is usually a very meek... He's anxious, that's a problem. Someone is already very reserved, but then Kazuma is that one person who can make him like, "Oh, you want to play like that? Oh, fine, I can play like that." Sit down!
How in the name of God did you find the man?
He was located in France during the recess at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Sherlock Holmes' famous deductions.
Sherlock Holmes.
Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death. Because along with Prosecutor Sogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate them. Oh my god. Wait, sorry, 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Also, not that I'm complaining, but why is every single character at the moment a guy? My throat, guys, my throat. Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st October. Sit down! Oh, he sat down.
Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point.
1 second, I had a burp. Is it really a good idea? I mean, the man did try to run away from us, and he's clearly trying to hide something. And also, he's a judge, so I'm pretty sure if anyone's gonna be great at like masking information or hiding, or not masking evidence and hiding information, it's gonna be him.
The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered.
I really like this. Is it so, I don't know what to say about what it means, the fact that Kazuma is so fair, but like but also he's very like against you. He's fair but against you. For some reason, whenever you're with Van Ziggs, you always feel like you're fighting an uphill battle, like you're on uneven footing. But with Kazuma, it's like, yeah, we see each other eye to eye. Probably because he's not 192 centimeters.
In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow.
Wait, what? I just got in. Okay, happy stream, guys. Thanks for coming by.
No objections from either side?
No, my lord.
No objections, my lord.
You haven't said a word! Speaketh! Well, actually, yeah, I can do your voice. We'll live to fight another day with the skin of our teeth. Trial speedrun! Guilty! What prosecutor? Hello? Okay, so what you guys didn't see was there at the continued screen because my fucking stream just died, as usual. No surprises there. What? I should have just played this. investigations down. I should have just played this until yesterday, but okay, we're going on anyways. What do you mean investigations part 1? The unexpected halt of proceedings to the clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Whoa! Oh no, it's so good that we don't have Kazuma here. He's going to hate that. He doesn't like chicken. I don't know how he feels about turkey, but I'm assuming pretty much the same. We have returned, my dear fellows! Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more brilliant day than Mikotobe and I, though. I could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. Kazuma. So, this prosecutor, Asagi, had you in the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's face. I want my man back. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible. To think that he even entertained the idea of acting as a Reaper's assassin. Right! I completely forgot about that. Why the hell did he accept the help? He has so much crucial evidence. And the fact that he was there on the night where supposedly Gregson died means that he's even more of a... what do you call it? What do you call it? I'm blanking on words all of a sudden. He's even more of a... what do you call it? Shit! Suspect! There it is, suspect! Then Van Six is now currently. What the hell? Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me, yes! You've met him, though! You've met him, though! After all, I've only ever met the man as a corpse. Very cute. And all this started almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for why he himself described as a great detective's lie, and I take a sip. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Well, it is another country, Mr. Sholmes. So, what news of Jejigoku? We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikotoba. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah, yes! I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday. You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. I mean, all things considered, isn't Mikotoba technically richer than Sholmes at the moment? Oh, you've had a reply already. Well, what was so urgent though, Mr. Sholmes? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone. Ah, and what a feast it is! If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak, and kidney pies, Yorkshire's pudding. Wait, where's the beef? I see chicken. Sholmes, are you too hungry to realize what's in front of you? Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up. In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only seat with a helping of pheasant as well. Oh, there it is. It's pheasant. Oh, sorry. sorry, Hurley. Not fair.
Whatever not. Oh shit, my voice. Yeah, I'm drinking cold water at the moment. And I really don't like drinking cold water when I'm doing these long streams, but we're out of lukewarm water. Whatever not. Are we in places this evening? Are we set in places this evening?
Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy.
For me?
That's right. I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey. Mickey!
I see. Well, that's incredibly kind of you.
It's a shame, really.
What do you mean?
Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half sisters, I mean.
Oh, that would be adorable. To be honest, go for it. Susie already has a half brother. She wouldn't mind having a half sister. Who cares anyway?
Oh!
Charles! Speak up, man. Speak up.
Iris, do you mean? Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday.
Yeah, we weren't very subtle.
I secretly listened in to the conversation we had. After I tricked you all into thinking I'd left.
What? 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 The misunderstandings arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotomo are Iris' father. Aww. I really do. I wish he'd fall more often. Yes, I know that, Iris. You know,
I know. You can't tell me at the moment.
Why? It's the end. It's the final case. Tell!
Oh, Iris.
You know, Iris, also, it doesn't really matter who your daddy is at the moment now because Sholmes pretty much raised you for your entire life. Would you really care about a father who was...
The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping.
Oh, no, that's quite alright. Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant? Jones, oh man, I really love him sometimes. So just who is Iris' father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. Ah! Can they stop like tugging at my balls like this? So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious.
Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds.
This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About the telegram from Japan and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. He's still looking at it like a fucking gremlin. Ooh, this is where I see it nighttime. It's Iris. Is it here? Okay, it's still the same largely. I guess I really don't want to get distracted, huh? Oh, even this? Wow. Ah, fuck, no. What? Fuck! Jesus Christ. Nothing's different. Okay, gremlin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Still, it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotomo's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless,
was just a child. I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on it with hungry eyes. I also love that Mikotoba doesn't share. I like that he gets to get a little revenge whenever he could.
Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy.
Even though I played the role of father to you for far longer. Alright! Mr. Sholmes, can I discuss some things with you? Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. You needn't look at me in that fashion. In what fashion? It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. Oh no! I feel like Sholmes is also rubbing off of Ryunosuke because Punch is Ryu's thing. I wonder if this is different. Nope. Ah, okay, so he... Oh, I like that, I like that. This is hardly the time, Mr. Naruhodo, as I'm sure you will appreciate. Oh, no, of course not. I wanted to show you my sick-ass sword. My attention is certainly drawn to one single matter now. The pheasant. Anyone would think you hadn't eaten in weeks! This is rich coming from you. Okay, fine. Let us have a converse. Kazuma's dead. I want to know about that one more, but... So, what was in the telegram you received back from Japan then? Ah, this. I think my lucky stars had arrived in time. Records found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. What? Those 4 names. We've come across that exact same list before. Excuse me, sorry, I had a burp. We came up in an unforgettable case last spring. I'm sorry, I saw a dead man and just laughed. What happened in a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be masking of a monumental intrigue. The plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states and exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked. We deciphered a fragment of a message. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that that information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So, why are your names coming up again now? Yes! Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes? I have here the message I have wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Who did you send it to? Expect to find communication from written dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names. Need by tomorrow. Naruhodo. Oh, he used his name, Naruhodo. I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. You asked... Hosonaga, the best boy! You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you? And in my name? I wonder what guys he opted for this time. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand. Anyway, the list of names was found in Seishiro's office, as Sholmes predicted. So, you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Jigoku. He was the intended recipient.
I don't believe it. But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it. Mr. Sholmes looks deadly serious for once. And because of that, I need to cough. Yeah, sorry. Oh no! My coughs are too powerful and killed the entire internet. I'm kidding. Guess what's that? I need to know the reason why you lie, you white man! I really love that we have to go back to this picture every time. That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Buria. It was all for nothing! Kazuma wasn't dead at all! We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective's lie. I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever it cost. What? I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Mrs. Sato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead. Instead. Why? Oh my! You mean... The arrangements between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi. I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that it was all to aid in stopping Kazuma from coming to Britain? That's why you... Think back, Mr. Naruto. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? Oh, shut up with that smug face of yours! The terms for this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Britain and Japan. Sorry, I didn't mean to shout at you! In light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. My dear fellows, the majority of problems... my voice! Ah! The majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer and the study tour can continue, surely. But there's no one else with the necessary qualification, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer, and Mrs. Susie isn't wrong. The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find ourselves another suitable lawyer. So, you manipulated me? I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. I don't believe it. But if it was all contrived, I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as a perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her? Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. I seem to remember Mrs. Sato and I have some rather strong words for her. Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. I wonder if she made it to America then. I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain?
The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see.
Oh,
An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand.
what do you mean?
An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago is close at hand. We need to find out exactly what Mr. Schultz knows.
What do you mean?
What? I'm guessing I have to present something. Excuse me, sorry. It's me! Ah, it's the cold water! Can I present this? Wait, what do we have? Is it this? Oh. There was no room for doubt with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that that it was Yachigoka's office that should be searched, so... You obviously knew. That's where the list of names would be found.
K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson.
But we only learned of these foreign names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of a top-secret government communications that were leaked. That's true, yes. But at the time, you were unaware of the background. You see, those foreign names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. Really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others of intercepting state secrets, because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japan governments. You're perpetually doing what? How? Never mind the details, but you should know. No secret is safe for Herlock Sholmes when he has designed on knowing it.
Oh my, Mr. Sholmes! What a fabulous line!
Now, 1 month after that list of foreign names were wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. As soon as I learned of the incident, I hypothesized rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turns out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow.
Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about these four names and the tragedy of which they're all connected.
As I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned on those four names. Because, you see, there was someone else on the list who I believe to be recently deceased. What? Who? A Shin, as it was described in Japanese script, was in actual fact Miss Asa Shin. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes. Oh, I see. But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So, I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining two persons on the list.
Ah! Kei Asugi and T. Gregson.
Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. Aww! Oh man, it really like puts into perspective how much work Sherlock put in the background, huh? But I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain. Ah, so that's why you went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead. Exactly.
So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I've recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course.
So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know.
Yeah, we were just casually talking about that, huh? We completely just lost all pretense that Iris is here. Oh, Iris.
I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That's very sad.
I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you.
No.
But what you told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts that there's one big hole in your hypothesis.
A big hole, Mr. Naruto.
Yes. You mean about Sashin, I presume.
Oh, of course.
Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Brett. I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago at the fire of the Great Waterloo Hotel. Yeah, I don't remember.
Ah!
And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I'd formed surrounding these fond names was completely turned topsy! Because I thought she was Japanese because her name. Yeah, I was confused as well. If she wasn't like Japanese, then another Asian descent. But she clearly looked white, right? I mean, she was wearing a mask, so maybe that was hiding some of her features, but we saw her face and she looked white. What? Topsy? Topsy? What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes? I had believed all fond names on the list to be the names of victims. However, I was mistaken. Very much so, Sashin was a killer! So, the hologram is a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed, and it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting the student status merely being a front.
Ah!
Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions. So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Asa Shin is because he was the target for the assassination. You're keeping up, Guru. I'm so proud of you. And for with the knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective. What do you mean? Well, does it not strike you? There is another among the four, whom subsequently became a visiting student. Wait, you mean... But of course, a name you know only too well. You mean... Kazuma?
Oh!
Oh! Why was there so many H's there? He did say in court today. I am vibing to this music, man. I won't lie, before I didn't get when people said like, oh, I really like the OST, or I can just listen to straight OST in my playlist for hours. Like, I've heard Jacksepticeye say that he listens to nothing but the Bloodborne OST. And I didn't get that at first, but listening to the Ace Attorney soundtrack, I can totally get it now. Yes, on the 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Goodson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. Samurai with a mission. And that mission was assassination of the Mark. I won't lie, I've listened to a bit of the original game's OST. I feel like it's more orchestral. I think that's the genre of it. Like orchestral in both traditional English and traditional Japanese sounds, for especially the Japanese themes.
I've listened to a bit of like the original 2001 game OSTs, and I will say I don't think I'm going to be as impressed when I play the first 3 games in comparison to this one, because the sound just goes hard. It really helps that there's nothing to distract you from it. Like there's no voice acting, which sometimes I wish there were. But the music is just gold. It's just forefront and center. Yeah, I feel like it was more, and I'm also I'm suspecting some like technology limitations back then. Like they were more 8-bit sounding kind of sounds, as well as I'm assuming the composer was different. I don't vibe with them as much. No shame. I love this OST so much. I was hoping I could get some more for the original games, but like after hearing a few of them, I'm not like holding out hope as much. The assassination of the Mark. Young Mr. Asogi accepted that mission a year ago now. Really? Surely not. In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts, an international agreement, one might say, detailing an assassin exchange. An assassin exchange? How could Kazuma possibly have got involved in something like that? Let's assume that we have 2 parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Well, they're just also... I mean, yeah, it's very much strictly pointing at Kazuma here to be like an assassin that killed Gregson because of the corresponding evidence with Assassin and Dr. John H. Wilson. But that also means that Jigoku was aware of it, right? He was aware of this assassin exchange thing. And when Kazuma said he wouldn't do it, he might have just done it himself. That's another angle to look at it. Let's assume that we have 2 parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those 2 parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would be an assassin exchange. So, to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a veteran student in Japan, where she kills her target. And then, the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a veteran student in Britain in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange. But what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruto, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction, thanks to a diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Oh, yeah. Such jurisdiction would be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our 2 countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels. Highest levels? These murders were 2 sides of the same coin, linked, not by common motive, by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, yet, in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular, devilish scheme. That disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. But wait a minute, Sholmes! If the telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jikoku at all. It means Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Kazuma was here for Gregson? So Jigoku wasn't actually the mark? Yes! That's exactly what it would mean! That doesn't help the case, but okay. I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe. Aww. Mr. Sholmes. I told him my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Oh, you confided with him and everything. Obviously, with a young pickpocket in tow. Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us
mentioned that to us at the Great Exhibition, that he'd be transferring to Paris police and taking Gina with him. But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last. This is too much to take in. Aww. Alright, everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Iris, no, I want answers!
Isn't it early? I mean, look at the time!
Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow. What preparations? Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel room now. This has certainly been a night to remember. Don't you want to stay over?
It is a little bit sad, though.
Would you like to stay forever?
I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then, Susie would have been my big sister.
I'm sorry, Iris.
I know, Iris.
I was thinking quite the same thing.
Were you?
But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. Oh, just take her in, adopt her, be the half sister.
What? Really? Oh, yes, without question. So, he'll teach you all the ways you know to throw Bruno on the floor?
Oh.
Yes, of course. It would be my pleasure.
You didn't have to agree quite so readily.
Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, you can be my big brother if you want, Bruno.
Huh? I mean, yes, of course. If you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother. Oh! Well done, Iris. You must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well. Because being sensitive to your strongs, naturally.
Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow because it's my big brothers and sisters.
Yes! Yeah! Oh, I love her. If anyone harms a hair on her head, I will kill them without question. I've only had Iris for a year and a half. But if anything happened to her, I will kill everyone in this room and then myself. What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what?
You'll just have to wait and see.
Why is everyone keeping information from the lawyer? Oh. Good luck and go tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. I'll do my very best, of course. So, the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths while posing new conundrums. That list of 4 names and the telegram in Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. So really, Asogi is more like a suspect now than an actual prosecutor. Even more so than Van Zeeks, which were just circumstantial evidence at this point. We now have actual contract killing that has Asogi's name on it. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. I'm so soft. It was so cute and sweet. What? Again? Wait, were we still
part of the investigation. Okay, now we're going to trial. We were still in investigation mode. Damn. God damn, this is the longest. Hey, we're back.
Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings.
I won't lie. I'm kind of curious. Imagine if there was like a DLC of the case 10 years ago. That would be so cool. But also, it does stand to point of fact that maybe prequels aren't like great game mechanics because you kind of already know how the outcome is gonna be. But I'd say it'd be interesting.
The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in a plot. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings.
Doing Strongheart's voice actually hurts my entire neck.
Counsel, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end.
Solve, yes. That's my intention, and also the title of this trial.
My lord, if I may inquire, the defendant may speak. On what grounds is Kazuma Sogi permitted to continue in his role as a prosecutor?
Yeah! I'm glad somebody has some fucking sense in this courtroom. Problem?
He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of a freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution,
right?
I submitted a written petition for Lord Strongheart, requesting the judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. You did what? In today's proceedings, I intended to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day.
Kazuma,
whatever this outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe.
No!
And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper.
He throws Reaper around like a slur. I just realized. He uses Reaper the same way Van 6 uses Nipponese.
Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into a very dangerous territory.
Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us?
As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request.
On what grounds did you grant it then?
The defense finds this acceptable, I presume.
No!
Yes, my lord. In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed hearing of Baroque Van Zeeks.
What? The defense is ready, my lord. He didn't ask.
The prosecution is more than ready. Very well then. This preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Asogi, begin! As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seishiro Jigoko into the courtroom.
At last then, we've reached the final battle. Are you sure?
He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Come on, Ryunosuke. It's time for that steely resolve, because this is going to test it to the limit.
I don't know why that was so funny.
Witness, state your name and occupation to the court. So, this is what you should.
Sorry, I had a burp. All these fucking deep voices killing me.
So, it was you who issued this, was it?
Ah!
Your subpoena. I did what was necessary. Wow, look what a young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say. The witness will ensure his response are pertinent to the questions asked. My name is Seishiro Jikoku, Supreme Court Judge from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am of course fully aware of Mr. Jikoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty.
All men, big men, have the same voice for me. I am so sorry. Judge Jikoku, I must say. And then Ryunosuke's twink-ass voice.
Well, I'd never fancy a young murdering student turning up here of all places.
Stop! He's like that one relative that's known you as a baby and has all the embarrassing stories. You're acquitted to yourself. And now, I'm a practicing defense lawyer.
Yes, full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see.
He really has all the embarrassing stories for me and Asogi.
You came here to London by invitation to the Internal Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
He didn't fly, he swam. There wasn't flight. It was ship.
Took flight? I'd have to object to this.
See? He really is just that. Even though I think he's the only one who currently has no confirmed son or spawn.
I'd have to object that turn of phrase.
Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say. I decline to comment.
Yeah, why are you even here?
I was expecting this.
What?
Leaving the country prematurely when I was invited was a guess may be a questionable etiquette, but my decision is unrelated to this case. I can be bound to testify. Unrelated, you say? I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to justify. It is as simple as that.
So you would run from all this?
I beg your pardon. Shit.
This case is more far-reaching than a murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now.
A year ago in Japan, the murder of Dr. John H. Wilson.
That's right, and you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it.
Uh-oh. Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes.
Sounds like a song.
That your resolve is carrying this through to the very end, too. Let's see your evidence then. What proof do you have that Seishiro Jikoku is involved in this case?
The save button! It's a telegram, right? Or telegraph? What is it called? Telegram.
This is a telegram detailing the communications sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communications contain 4 names: K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson. Uh-oh! Oh no, he's mad! No confirmed spot. Oh, is there? But oh no, he's mad! I'm sorry, Dad! I miss your kind and gentle smile. You little... Oh no, he's actually really very upset. Where did you get that? In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku. What? How on earth did you... What's this all about? Why is my name on that list? Oh, so he doesn't know. This list of 4 names follow a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. K. Asogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins. No. Bro, what the fuck? You literally just accepted a job to kill someone. Hello? A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson was taken in a was life. Wow, my mind is blanking on words at the moment. My mind is just skipping over words. Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. A. Shin and her victim J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was a counterpart to that crime. Are you sure? You're basically much implicating that Kazuma killed him? Are you sure about this? An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Sogi, whose victim was a British police inspector, Tobias Gregson. K. Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other. What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of an assassin exchange. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill. What? Jigoku is so large. He's so large. He's the size of a fucking refrigerator. The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually feel bad. Judge Jigoku, what's this all about? And you, Kazuma, you lied. Yeah. Call him out! Grind his ass! During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name of the killing contract. Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. Oh, you bitch! So you still admitted that your assassination target was... I'm going to choke you with that stupid red cravat of yours. The idea to say sure Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. You just didn't refute it. You deliberately avoided saying a name? You stupid bitch. The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself?
His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of the Inspector Grex's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court. Look at you, knowing big rules and big names. There's no need for quite a vicious glare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. Are you sure? Are you sure? Like every other witness here, as always just perjured. It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange to the events of the night of the 31st October. Fuck, I'm dying. Why is my dyslexic ass kicking me? What? What? That didn't even make sense. Why? What? What did I just say? I had like a mini stroke. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. It's true that Kazuma Sogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. But he didn't know the target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was the conditions of the British study tour. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On that evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. Someone paid. If there had been shot fired, the crewman would have heard it. So clearly, I can't be involved. Well, we can present the evacuation notice of that, but not the present, probably. So you admit it then, as this communication suggests, there really was an assassination exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan. A political endeavor at the highest levels, not something I can discuss here. It's a closed court! To use such a worthy practice as a foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder is the most appalling thing I've ever heard. Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge. You are a judge! And also, what is that face? I'm so sad! I miss his gently smiling face. But his face really does work out to make him look like a villain. Wah! Pardon? Asogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know. What? Hello? Kazuma? Comments on this? He's talking about you! Which is why he accepted that mission in the first place. Isn't that right, counsel? Kazuma, you stupid... Kazuma-sama? I mean, yeah, Gregson was the one who pushed for the autopsy on Clint Van Zyck's body, so that's how the professor was caught. Judge Jigoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain. I mean, it's pretty easy to guess. I'm not obliged to divulge that information. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted that mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. See. In short, this assassination exchange the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. Well, you did block out like that tube thing, and what does it say? All crew members are required to assemble on the main deck. Ah, right. All crew members are required to assemble at the main deck at 10 p.m. in order to review evacuation procedures. You had a whole last 20 minutes to kill him. That's right.
Brexit was killed after returning to London in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Baroque Van Zeeks. The prosecution's accusations remains unchanged. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program is a facade for such— what the fuck is that word? Machiavellians! Clearly, it's a plot only a government minister and a high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson.
This man's voice is actually giving me a headache.
Is the defense clear on that point, counsel?
Fine. I'll keep that in mind as a cross-examination witness. So, I know what to press. But I want to know about this. A year ago, when Kazuma was still in Japan then.
Correct. It was at the examination center for applications for this study when I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I'd consider traveling to Britain on an assassination mission,
And you accepted, you stupid shit!
Surely not! I thought it was a joke at first, of course, but then it was made clear to me that if I didn't accept, I would be considered for the study tour.
Ah, that's not cool. Oh. So you agreed to it? Just for that? I mean, I know how much you wanted to study in England, but assassination?
The Empire of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time, an agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, the chosen students were to be given assassination missions.
Man, imagine if like Kazuma wasn't the top student for it though. Like, what if he actually had shit grades like Ryunosuke, but the top one was actually just a wimp who can barely pick up a sword? That would be so fucking funny though. I mean, I guess you can give someone a gun, but
I had no choice but to accept the proposal that originated from my British counterparts.
why? Why did you expose the plot there and then?
Britain acknowledges no part in this alleged misbegotten dealings. I advise you not to make spurious allegations, Foreign Minister Jikoku. As a witness, I am bound to tell the truth, my lord.
Oh, that was
Anyway, I picked Asogi and explained the details of the plan to him.
Something happened. That was the incident. Remember the crew was on duty. That was the one who has to like present the drill. If there's been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it. It's either of the two, I think. But the first one sounds more valid. Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin? Okay, good. This is exactly what I was talking about.
He was the most capable of all the applicants, and in addition, I knew his desire to travel to Britain was very strong.
So you manipulated him too!
In fact, it was almost more than a desire. It was his whole purpose in life.
Jesus, Kazuma. Yes, as his best friend, I can certainly attest to that. Aww.
The way he threw himself into his studies, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer, it was all ultimately for the one single goal of being accepted on a study tour to Britain.
And of course, we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Genshin Impact.
There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here. Be that agree to
Just save up and go to Britain. Jesus. I mean, sure you wouldn't have gotten it as fast as possible, and I'm assuming you're very impatient considering the whole situation of things, but come on! There would have been slower but safer ways to go to Britain. But wouldn't be as dramatic, which is the thing.
Me not agreeing to assume the role of an assassin or betraying people's trust. Well, certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asogi.
Oh shit!
But why was Inspector Gregson the target? I have no idea. Those were the orders from Britain. I was in no position to question them. You have no idea, really? I find it hard to believe. Oh, do you?
People are just being bitchy with each other in court, and Ryu is just here trying to survive. Judge Jikaku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Perhaps he has some connections with Inspector Gregson from that time.
The defense really ought to catch up.
With what?
With the fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I've already admitted to recruiting a soldier.
However, in the end, he was shit at it. He was done in by a cat. I presume you're referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma's passage to Britain in January? I love this. We're just gonna keep reusing this shot. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship.
Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship's departure from our shores. The victim's student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong.
Right, how the fuck did that happen?
The news was wired to me from a detective I'd placed on the ship to accompany assassin.
Yeah, he really is. He's very cute in that shot. He's like little news. I don't know why, but I found Asogi's nose cute.
Obviously, Kazuma didn't actually die at all. But he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission. Did you not consider dispatching another assassin at that point? That was impossible, simply because the black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as Asogi's replacement.
Man! Can you imagine how much, like, Sherlock did for this case? Or, like, this situation? He really did just MVP his way into this, huh?
And there was no way to stop him from reaching Britain. I mean...
Ah!
My hands were completely tied.
So Mr. Shong's strategy worked perfectly. He predicted everything that would happen.
Months later, my memory returned. But I never intended to go through with that assassination mission anyway. So, you were playing me right from the outset, were you? Is that it? I'd sooner be guilty of that crime than taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to in order to get myself here in Britain. This line of questioning has gone on long enough.
They really are just bitching at each other, and I fucking love it. We are getting nowhere fast.
Because of these questions. All the court should be concerned about is the testimony given by the witness. Are details related to the relationship with Inspector Gregson and the victim's murder. In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connections to the man or his death. And you have some means of substantiation in this plea.
Yeah, I feel like this one is the is the one you press the evacuation thing on. Sorry, I had a burp. Because it was like, at all times. No, there wasn't. There was like 20 minutes. Such a cabin in the first class area of the SS Grouse, you read. Yes, that's right. Not least because there was a murderer of a student passenger earlier that year, I imagine. Ryunosuke just reinvented rules and I love it. The liner's operators have taken to posing a crewman outside every first-class cabin door. I can confirm the presence of a crewman guard myself. What do you mean? Because I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk that night, I witnessed it with my own eyes. There was a well-built crewman standing guard directly in front of the door to the witness's cabin. At that particular time, of course, I'd gone to the ship's dining area for dinner. The inspector and I asked the crewman to allow us into the cabin while we waited for Judge Jigoku's return. I suppose Inspector Gregson was there in his capacity as the Reaper. He was intending to take the witness's life. Exactly. Shit, this is too deep. Exactly. As I've said numerous times now, I had no intentions of killing anyone. So the crewman let two potential assassins into the cabin he was supposed to be guarding? Not the most convincing of centuries, really. In truth, those were my thoughts too. You two really are best friends. I'm just saying, for real, for real. But anyway, I stayed and talked to the inspector for a short while. And then I left him there and made my way off the ship alone. Was the guard still at the door when you went? Yes, he glared at me as I walked past. You see, that proves it. Is it now? I'm kind of doubting it because that line of questioning didn't really it was more just like dinner, which kind of gives him an alibi. And they were also talking about that there was a guard right there. And the crewman who was standing directly outside their cabin door, you mean? That's right. A muscular man with a permanent grim expression on his face. He didn't once move from that spot. To be honest, I thought he was a miserable fellow. But, as it happens, he's a vital witness now! Wait, is he here? There's no doubt that Gregson was killed by a gunshot. And it's inconceivable that a crewman standing just outside the cabin door wouldn't have heard that. Oh, it was the last statement after all, right? But wait, what about the ship's enormous steam engines? And the noise from them could have drowned out the sound of a gun being fired. Sadly, young judicial assistant, that won't wash. Oh! You will recall that my cabin was in the first class area of the ship, which is also, of course, the quietest. Don't imagine for a moment that it's anything like a steerage where the judicial assistants go, wow! Why is that so mean? I didn't mean... What? A hole like that made by a bullet was found in your cabin, Judge Jigoku. That's compelling evidence that a gun was fired in there. What's that? A bullet hole? Why? Did we not take a picture of that? Oh yes, you're talking about what the detective uncovered in the wall yesterday, I presume. That was obviously a rotten panel eaten out by woodworm. No doubt he didn't find an actual bullet. That's a hole in this argument. Sadly, I was unable to arrange for the crewmen to be brought back to Britain. But obviously, if a gun had been fired in my cabin on the night in question, as the defense implies, I would have been arrested on the spot and would never have made it to Britain in the first place. Very true, the witness logic is sound. He is a judge, so... Since no gunshot was heard from the witness's cabin on the night in question, we must assume that the witness is telling the truth. I'm glad you've seen my sense, my lord. And no one. I know Kazuma's already admitted to taking on an incredible assassination plot, but even so, hearing it confirmed by somebody else is still a real shock. It's unforgivable! You using Kazuma-sama's feelings to manipulate him into agreeing to such a despicable plan. But I think Kazuma manipulated Judge Jigoku too. He completely double-crossed him. Oh dear, it's hard not to see that as a stroke of brilliance on Kazuma-sama's part. One way or another though, Gregson ended up dead. I really think the murder must have happened aboard the steamship. So you mean, Judge Jigoku must be lying. Yeah, I know. But you must destroy him, Mr. Naruhodo! Jesus, calm down, fuck. I think it's the last case, because this one they were talking about how there was a crewman in there. I'm gonna save that. It's so interesting as well, because Jigoku isn't really a bad guy, isn't he? Like, I feel like that's a good way to build up if he was actually a criminal here, or the murderer. It's really nice to like find out that he's someone beyond a killer. Like, he helped Susato during that first trial in the second game. And then he thinks fondly of Ryunosuke, and he like we've been hearing tales about him trying his very best to like get Genshin acquitted or something like that. No, he's a really nice guy, but apparently he's gotten mixed up with the wrong, I wouldn't say crowd. He isn't like a teenager who got bullied into like drinking and doing cigarettes. Smoking. Jesus, why am I like this? But yeah, it's an interestingly deep character. I can say more about Jigoku being a murderer than if ever Strongheart has become like the main villain we know he's going to be. Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. What? I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st. What? Where did you get that? From your waistband! You weren't there in the room when they were moving around. They were literally talking about how Sherlock is in the habit of checking garbage cans now. It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Schultz. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember. Herlock Schultz again. According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill. All crewmen were away from their posts, and during the 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshot emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime. Ow! A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. Then why are you objecting? But it amounts to nothing. I see, that's why you're objecting. Why? Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. Unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than a conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel? Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it. It's probably the, crown, the pocket watch. You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. I miss Van Zeeks all of the sudden. I'm struck with a sudden sadness that I haven't seen Van Zeeks in, what, half an hour? Because I was taking... I'm gonna save though. Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch.
A pocket watch. And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on that spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. Grrr. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill in the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku.
Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you? You young murderer.
Stop! I didn't kill anyone!
Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. And your arguments are entirely plausible. At first.
What do you want now?
But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks.
What?
And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
Sorry?
If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world of your ridiculous bombast.
I am being bullied, Judge. Everyone is being mean to me.
I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice the pitfall into which you've stumbled.
Well, it's your own fault for not saying it in the first place, bitch!
Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Yes, I do. Very well then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st October. Of course, as a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice.
Why is everyone so mean to me? They're saying bad words towards me. Be nice to me.
I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal at the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I so took care of him with an ippon sail throw, though. He wouldn't wait to run away after that. I couldn't run away. I imagined this watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. Ippon seoi, a common jiu-jitsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily on his watch to take. So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you?
What?
The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there.
Ah!
I have no idea the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord.
But if this testimony holds, Judge Jigoku did have no involvement in the case.
Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on this court examination.
It's been 3 days of court. We can waste more hours. Sorry, my lord. The defense has the right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. Coming from the both of you. Listen! Both of you are assholes. In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know what we have. No. I don't know what they intend me to do. Telegram from the man, evacuation drill, itinerary, great sword, Karuma. Whee! Clint's autopsy report. We still need to know what happened to Clint in the case 10 years ago. The soggy papers we still haven't done anything about. I think the autopsy report, because he mentioned something about like the body was clearly found in London, but like the time of death was like indeterminate. We also haven't used the gun at all. Wait, so 5 years ago, you're still alive. 5. Yeah, that was that. That was older than 5 years ago. Is it the murder weapon though? I thought that was. Oh no! I think they said that they found Rexon's gun on his person. Also the wig. Oh, we kind of did use the wig. Is it though? I don't know which evidence to go first. I guess press everything. I'm kind of at a loss. Aside from the autopsy idea. Because the so-called guard posted on your front door had just let your killer pass, you mean? Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course. Okay, thank you so much for dropping by, CFOs. I will probably stop at like the to be continued point. Have a good sleep, and hope you have a good day at work tomorrow. Bye bye. He wouldn't have had his identification with him though. He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced. But the man accompanying him would have had 2 swords slung around his waist. Good point. You mean me? Yeah, well, bitch. The Yanosuke is like me for real. Yes, that's true. You wouldn't have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set alarms off of the guard's head. The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship. Certainly, all I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion. That's right. None whatsoever. Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson. Yes, though at the time, I didn't know the man's name. And there was no time for introductions. I valued my life over manners. By which you mean, that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose. That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction. But I've never seen a muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before. Believing it or not, most of us haven't. Anyway, there was no time to call for help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself. Okay. That was a lot of nothing. Even though the man had a gun? It was a very brave move, wasn't it? My ippon is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you. But surely all the commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape. The outstanding guard does it again. Luckily, there aren't many situations I can get out of using a quick Ippon Theo for CO throw. Seoi. Seoi. The crown snapped off of the glass covering the face of the snapped off, and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, a broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not! All the watch proves is the power of my jujutsu throw. I love that he's like a bit of an otaku or like a nerd when it comes to martial arts as well. It's kind of like how Van Zix is all no nonsense, but then gets very comical when it gets to his like whines. Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in the cabin, because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall. What are you talking about? Huh? That's what the star of your low-brow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling?
Well, you were so nice to me before, but now you're being mean.
No murder took place in my cabin.
That's the one I'm most suspicious about, but it depends on like the statements in it. But there's no evidence that proves that the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling.
What?
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth did he get back to Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a double of a thing.
Oh, right. I was wondering as well. I just realized that Grex's body was found in like a fetal position, so he's probably like stuffed into a small place. Oh no, please don't tell me it wasn't his Louis Vuitton case.
It's a double of a thing.
Well, then obviously the culprit must have moved the body.
How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship on your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think?
Well, yes, that's true, but
all passengers' luggage is inspected when it's unloaded from arriving vessels. Oh, okay. And I would like to think the border police would query a corpse in an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard a ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea.
okay, that's actually also true. If not for the sole reason of implicating the Reaper or Van Zix, that is also true. Getting rid of the body at sea would be way easier.
There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain.
Let's kill the idea then. Okay. But perhaps not. Mr. Soto, we've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in sea. Yes, that's true. So, transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you?
A year into it, with a few little practices.
I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony with your consent, of course, my lord.
Okay, thanks for that. We did manage to change one.
I have no objections. State your amended testimony now.
Possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain.
There's an idea. Think about it, stripling. All passengers and crew disembark at the same time and pass through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests are then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry. That's also true.
And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel.
As you did, so you did. Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time?
What? No!
So, we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they've developed some clever device in these days to instantly move things from point A to B.
Well, we have that. Funny you should say that. Professor Herbert's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, of course. The defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say.
So that's just... Oh, should I present the picture there? But that would mean it had like... It would mean it had blood in it though, right? And then how did he keep like the body cold? I mean, they already said that the ship has a freezer and such, but... Because, you know, ice. But are you trying to say that he put the case inside of the freezer? But then that also begs the question, border patrol is also true. And then, when you think about it like that, how did Jigoko know about the place in Fresno Street? Like, I'm going to present the picture, but I don't know how they're going to develop that. So that's the story. Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say, Mr. Narada must have been murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I bring another one? And the fact is that Inspector Greggson's body was found in a little room in Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Chicago's cabin, the body would have been moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over the country border, that would be impossible for a majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for a cope with that. That would be a vital realization, I think, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm gonna assume it's the last statement because I'm gonna save and present the picture. The picture we had that we took, and then like show all the fact that there's a trunk in there. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Right, this trunk. That would be so grim. The fact. Okay, let's try it. Oh, the music stopped. Did I get it right? There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? Well, I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do, the transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do.
What are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
It's so weird that they're calling my first name. No, this is the first time a prosecutor has actually called Ryunosuke by his name. The other one was like, what was the other one? Aochi was saying about like amateur student or something, and Vance is just Nipponese. But they're using my first name. As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoko is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Oh, right! That's absolutely true! Mikotoba did say that he was getting tired by all of the inspections and such, but because he's a special minister, he doesn't need to. Oh! Impressive! Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Right! Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took a rather lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you?
Ah, I knew you were jealous.
right. I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph I took in a foyer at the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have video your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. I mean, he himself fit inside that trunk. And he is huge. He's like a refrigerator. Mr. Naruto, surely you're not suggesting. I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with a new arrival from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. Ooh. Order in the court! I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even even the largest trouble trunk. I mean, you are huge. It could. You would know! Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. Okay. I thought he was gonna make an example of himself, like, I would know because I have been in that situation. And verifying that would be extremely simple. Wouldn't a Judge Jigoku just shove him inside a suitcase again? But inside his trunk? How horrifying! After we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense. Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged that there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the time of death. The true time of death, the onset of the body's decomposition, would have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator. Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the sizable size, of requisite size, are few and far in between. Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're centrally found is on a large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrical refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh as their long sea voyage. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku, however much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Whoa, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What do you mean? Also, Asogi hasn't studied shit. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already. What? Judge Jigoku, please! Stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond? Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there? Why ever not? Because before you could even begin to answer their question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical. The actual scene of the crime. The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place in Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Baroque Van Zeeks shot the victim at point-blank range. Can you see him again? I miss him. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. The victim was shot in that little room at Fresno Street
and died instantly. I'm afraid it's a prosecution's claim. That's the only fairy tale here. I love the confidence in you. How can you say that? Quite simply, because the claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Okay, I don't... Ryunosuke, what? I don't know what you mean! Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you? The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot in the scene in Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. What? Ryunosuke, I don't know where you're going with this. Spanzeeks, what do they want from me? I'm gonna save and present that picture. I don't think it's right, but it's like my best shot at the moment. Definitely really contradicts it. It's Usalak! He killed him! I feel like it's the picture, right? Because like rigor mortis and all that shit we found out was like, oh shit, where is it? About like how the body stays in place. Like, sure, I guess, best shot. Oh, I'm right! Hell yeah. A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed. Yes, but the point is, the posture of the body itself. I got it right. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal. He died instantly. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jikoku, but it's your logic that is flawed. What? According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Oh! Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though, the answer should have been abundantly clear by now. You're suggesting. The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor. From the inside of the large travel trunk. But how did he know about his room on Fresno Street? No. You're quite right. The shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it's been kept in a confined space. Judge Jikoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood. Ah! Present my trunk. I refuse. What? Kazuma, you're so lost in this conversation and I love it. On what grounds? I don't wanna. I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations. Well, if you have nothing to hide, then it wouldn't matter, right? In other words, Judge Jikoku, there is blood in your trunk. You didn't even clean it out? I decline to answer that. As a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that allow me to... At this moment, you're not a government minister. He technically is. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. He still technically is.
I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. There's a bit like... Ooh, there's a bit like Van Zeeks now. Like, he doesn't care if he's facing aristocracy or not. Everyone is balanced in the eyes of court, which is very right, very correct. I like that, I like that. Nothing is more important than the truth. Wow. Hey, you recovered fast.
Order in court. Well, Mr. Jikoku, what's it to be?
I'm meaning I'm still starting to decline, right?
You can't be serious.
You did it? I can't believe you're so lost in this entire case, Kazuma. Do you have a gun?
Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Sogi?
What?
Very well, I admit it.
Guilty?
I did bring the inspector's body into the country.
Jesus.
Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
Okay. Arrest this man? What?
Dear God, outrageous.
So it was you! You admit to Inspector Grex's...
No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin.
Fine.
In order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
Wait, that doesn't even answer why the wig was there. Excuse me, I had a burp. You're treating his body like it's some kind of wrapper or bottle you were drinking, but you couldn't find any garbage cans close by, so you just go home carrying it. You still can't deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Yeah, that was what I was saying. I was fucking sure that was gonna bite us in the ass. Oh!
That's right! Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Sogi.
Okay, that answers, where did he get his gun though?
You.
Both of you. Every single one of you. Fucking messes.
I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Kazuma Sogi.
The girls are fighting. Oh my god, the girls are fighting.
If you thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could have pinned the crime on me, did you?
Hey, that makes your statement a lie then, because you said he just came there waving his gun around. And like... Sorry, my nose is itchy. But then now you're saying that you found the body dead there.
Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, as an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't.
He would! He very much would, Kazuma!
So, what do you make of that, young stripling?
Honestly, it was his mess. He can fix it.
You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I mean, I will say, if he does admit to nothing more, then he can technically go away. Hi, John! I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense.
Why is it on me? Hello? Let the prosecutor say something about it. Like, let him testify. both stand on the witness stand and be bitchy about each other right next to them. Let's see if we can throw hands. That would be fun to watch.
What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact...
No, of course not, because he's my boyfriend.
Mr. Kazuma Sogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma. Oh shit, that's an easy choice then. Fuck.
Both of them had the opportunity to kill Rexon, but only one of them did it.
Thank you so much for the hydrate in the poster check, John.
And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by the prosecutor Asogi is...
I want to say possible, but I'm gonna say, I know it's impossible because he's our boyfriend. We still have to stand up for him. But I want to say possible in that he gets very, very mad at me.
Well, it is possible, my lord.
What? How could you? Bitch! I am about to vault over this defense stand, come over to you and smack you over the head. What the fuck do you mean? How could you? Do you realize what you have done to me? Do you think I want to believe it? But the fact is, I can't say with complete certainty that what actually happened because I wasn't there. You disappoint me, Ryunosuke. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps that's why we form opinions based on evidence. Ah! So true. And actually, we have evidence that can settle this argument conclusively. My lord, the defense would like to present evidence in support of...
Before you plow on, feigning ignorance of what just occurred, counsel. You must penalize for the short but embarrassment. You uttered the moment. Wait, it isn't even about my accusation. It's the fact that I made a very embarrassing
I really thought I could just brush past it if it was cooking. Never mind the penalty, Mr. Dyer. No, the truth is all that matters now. No. No. I am not going with the line in the fact that I disappointed my bestie. It's not possible!
Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of some...
Oh, okay, we just completely skipped the fact that we insulted Kazuma like that.
Something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process. It is, no question. Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime, because he doesn't have a gun. What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So, present what you have, counsel.
Is it the gun?
What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement?
He doesn't know how to use a gun. It's the gun, right? Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Right? I mean, there's nothing else. And... Is it the fact that... I don't know. That doesn't seem like how blood works. I'll do the gun. Shut the fuck up, Kazuma.
You're making the evidence sweep here. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth.
They're not playthings you can toss around in the courtroom for entertainment. That was funny. Never mind the evidence. Never mind the evidence. You're about to make me weep, Mr. Naruto. Oh no, I get upset Sato-san. I will end up being upset too. We know a member of the crew was on sentry duty outside the first class cabins nearly at the time. So, as long as the guard was there, it could have been impossible to fire a shot without being heard. And it very much narrows down to when the crime could have been committed. Oh, okay. I got a hint from that. I wasn't aiming for it. But then I somehow got it. Is it this? I got a hint from that. That's why I kind of usually like, oh no, I'm wrong, and then like move back because I want to avoid the hints. But the lines were so funny, I couldn't stop it until I eventually got to the hint. I didn't realize it was a hint. This itinerary from crew members of the SS Grouse, my lord, it's conclusive proof. An itinerary? How does that prove anything? Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant. What? Why? On the night in question, as always, a crewman's sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin. Absolutely, because it's conceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate. So, that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock as indicated on the itinerary. Yes, I see no flaw in that reasoning so far. But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. Oh. Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by someone who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings, I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Brexit and disembarked the ship. I spent the night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning. Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killings. Gah! Hold it! No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all. Accept it or not. What do you mean? The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. I mean, he did say there was like a signature. Obviously, after he left the cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and... No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma? First names! As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And, as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof. No, there's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. Oh no, is he gonna break the stand again? Just like he did 10 years ago? You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then, you dumped the body on the broom on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it, Seishiro Jigoku? It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when it all just began. Oh no. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. Ah! He broke it again! It's over!
My life is over.
Hello, Kamazuchi! Long time no see.
A British assassin to eliminate the professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
The way you stand! Okay. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm on the last case.
The assassin exchange requests arrived from Britain about a year ago. And though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, we decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. Oh, what happened to Kazuma? We were calling him Kazuma all these. Yeah! Oh, are you sure? This is a really good case. I'm just saying. All the dramatic highs are just going at it. But okay, if you say so, I hope you enjoy. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. Yeah, because the fucking idiot got done by a cat. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume. That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart and made arrangements for the pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
What? The Reaper? Oh man, so even the Reaper is just willing to get rid of Gregson. Gregson was betrayed.
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation.
Baruch the Reaper himself. I thought you were gonna say Baruch Van Zigzag and I was going to choke you. So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper!
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on a steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
Oh, how awful!
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. It didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness.
Oh my god.
But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicions, so I bided my time, waiting. For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock, I had intended to finishing my strangulation, but moments before I had a chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless move.
Oh my god, that sounds awful.
I received a British issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student.
Oh, so that's it.
I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that.
How is it still good in like 16 years? I can't imagine you use it regularly.
So, the revolver belongs to you, does it?
Then, the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS grounds, which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could have taken the body up a deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for that evacuation drill. So, before the first class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigerator room.
Ooh, this is so awful.
And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon.
I mean, yeah, this also implicates Van Zieks a lot because he did openly admit that he knew Gregson's schedule. And I'm sure they're gonna spin this that in the end, the Reaper, Baron Van Zieks, is still the true perpetrator.
In order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone from whom he would take back his police identification. I decided the man would be the perfect person to set up the culprit.
Oh
no! So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then. Oh my god, imagine.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So, I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise? For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself than I would have otherwise.
Oh no, I want to see that. What did he look like with a red wig on? But wait, this also doesn't make sense if they're going to make an argument that Van Zieks is the Reaper, because then he eventually did get caught. If that was if Jigoko is setting him up to be like this mastermind and everything, then why would Van Zieks himself go there and implicate himself?
The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the red-headed League investigation. I only arrived at the room at around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so that the firecrackers would go off with a bang about 15 minutes later.
Is that a thing old people or oldish people did? Could they just look at a candle and know how long it will take for it to melt? Because that's insane. You managed to get it in 15 minutes tops.
So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap.
But then the Reaper is there. Van Zieks is there.
Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that?
I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigerator room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did.
What is that is just gone. Okay. So Van Zieks is innocent, right?
I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty. Oh no!
Oh no! Immunity!
He is still like a Minister of Justice or Foreign Affairs. Immunity!
An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea.
Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us. Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say. Even though as things stands, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. Ooh, oh, wow, this is really serious and I'm kind of scared for him.
No.
What are you waiting for? Can we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us is admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson.
Okay, and what does that make of my client? Wait, my client is still Van Zeke's, not him? Hello?
Seishiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found.
Okay, but my client.
And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court.
Okay, but my client. Okay, but my client. Okay, but my client.
Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendants and
hey, they have a new stand! I guess we just have this lying around then in case of Jigoku ever coming back and destroying them, huh?
In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh no. Oh, wonderful! Well done, Mr. Naruhodo! Yes, thank you. Is something wrong? I'm just a little troubled by his silence. Right, because there's a lot of bad blood between these two and I don't know how they're going to like interact again after all this.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and his extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about those mysteries, however. Insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries. As a prosecutor, as you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication.
Wait, I'm just going to cry. Is like the next part going to be us defending Asogi for his stupid shit that he did?
Now, for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant, Baruch Van Zeeks.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The prosecution calls for the adjudication to be deferred. Counsel? The accused innocence hasn't been fully established at all.
I mean, listen. Asogi. This trial is for the murder of Gregson.
And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time.
God damn it.
That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
Of course it is. What? But Judge Jigoku has already confessed.
Nevertheless, Baruch Van Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished.
What?
Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear. Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly. Certainly. The murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into the sick, merciless assassin stage. That may be true, but... So, what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Baroque Van Zieks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Oh my god, I'm just looking at him and look at his eyelashes. Neat, I need to take a screen cap. His eyelashes are so long. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Order! 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 The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting you have some information with which to build a case? Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zieks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper. Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed. What do you mean? It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zieks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes. I'm with my bro here, but isn't it a little too obvious now that he is emotionally fueled and has a motive in wanting to, like, incriminate Van Zieks, then therefore should not be allowed to prosecute Van Zieks? That explains cause of his silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zieks unwittingly started 10 years ago. Very well, whilst it's extremely irregular, I will, on this occasion, grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all information involvement he had with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Jesus. Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify this vile and unremitting accusation. I need to save. I don't know, am I still in part 2? Okay, I don't want to go into like part 3 immediately. Hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice. Lord Van Zieks! I first had to suffer the facility of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So, I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all. Good. Then, let justice decide, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution seeks to begin building a case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order
that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey.
And what says the defense?
No! Putting the defendant in that witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically. Yeah, that's what I'm saying! He can't continue on the prosecution for a case against Fancies! You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer, and as his best friend. Sorry, just his friend. I added them best. Then that's what we must do. The defense has no exception, my lord.
Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord. I have never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson was out of nowhere, okay.
Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. So, you deny all accusations by the prosecution, both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey and that you masterminded the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believes me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear. Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony was just given when accused to be untrue. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
I was here to defend the Reaper against a murder charge against Gregson. But now, apparently, that's moot. That's out of the window. So, am I really here as a defense lawyer, defense attorney for the Reaper still, or do I need to be here?
A desire to uncover this truth, even if the truth proves your client to be guilty. For all my experience in this courtroom, I've come to realize something.
You have like what, 4 cases here?
The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So, it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth. I want you to remember what you just said. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Ah, yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony. I'm sorry, my nose is so itchy today. What the fuck? I'm putting like ointment on it all stream. And then it gets itchy and I like accidentally rub the ointment out. And now I'm putting it again. So, you're not what the general public refers to you as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey.
Exactly.
Okay, I was just saying I miss Vansing so much and I'm so glad he's here.
Don't imagine for a moment that the court will be satisfied with one-word answers on this. I realize that.
If you're just making a comment that I've been sent to this court, check out my cat. If you're intending to comment on every sentence, this could take a while, Kazuma. Didn't you find it disturbing though, that one by one defendants had been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecutions were killed?
Let me answer that question by posing another. If, one by one, defendants would have been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing?
Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how that would make me feel with one word answer like that.
Exactly.
I hate you. Well, that's on me.
But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay.
He can be such a right bitch when he wants to be, and I love that for him. I wish we had lots more of interactions with him outside of the courtroom, which is I'm kind of happy they did. Maybe been able to like meet him outside of the courtroom as such. You say for years? How long exactly? 10?
Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in his courtroom. 10 years ago now.
Jesus Christ, you're not scared. And your investigations led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying?
I didn't want to believe it. He was a personal acquaintance. We'd worked on cases together in the past.
Friend, even?
It felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office and yard without his knowledge. Which is when you found this secret notebook, is it? It's when I first learned of the locations and notice only as grouse and the appointment at 5 p.m. on the 31st. Though I didn't know the significance of the details at the time. So now we're at the nub of the matter. As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate.
True. But why did you go to this specific location?
I thought that if it was the Reaper's headquarters, then by turning up there at 5 o'clock, I could catch whoever was involved red-handed. Sadly, all that was awaiting me, sorry, all that wine has gotten me burpy, was the inspector's corpse.
Yes, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku.
Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hubu, but unhappily for me, I've arrived at the scene first.
Ha!
A ridiculous, careless blunder. Shut the fuck up!
Moved on to just throwing insults around. I see then, Kazuma. Move on to just oh wait, no, that's the wrong tone. Moved on to just throwing insults around. I see then, Kazuma. You should know him by now, bruh.
Think what you will. It doesn't change the truth.
Point is, there is a link between you and Gregson, though.
Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons.
He did? Such as what? Oh?
Where to buy good fish and chips and such like.
He really struggled to say that, didn't he? The screen shook like a magnitude 8 earthquake when he tried to say that. Well, that was convincing.
Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course. That was the one. But that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university.
That's right. He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo.
It should be unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him.
Should I point that out? That is my client. I know what they want. It's about the autopsy report.
In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the ocean to kill the man.
Sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. But something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me. Certainly, as it stands, there's no evidence to suggest that you concocted this scheme. But as it stands, we have only the accused's insistence of his innocence. Sorry? Perhaps there is some reason that would explain why he masterminded the assassin exchange. And if a reason can be established later in these proceedings, then the accused claims in his testimony that he wasn't involved would amount to perjury. As if that is the... I feel like perjury doesn't exist here in this world. Like, it's not punishable by law. It's kind of like jaywalking. You just do it in the court of law. Okay, someone doesn't, so... Well, yes, that's true, but... Clearly, Kazuma-sama intends to identify a reason to use it to make it his case. So, if you don't identify something first, he'll gain the advantage. This could be dangerous. Convincing testimony by Lord Van Zeeks. Certainly, with no apparent connection between the three men, there's no way to establish a motive. The testimony seems unassailable as far as I can see. Oh, dear me! What a bleak expression! I agree, there doesn't appear to be any particular link between them, at first glance. But with the inclusion of one other person, I must be overthinking it, surely. Another person, Mr. Naruhodo. I need to think back over all the information you've gleaned so far. Alright, and I'll review my notes about the case and all the evidence in the court records. Maybe Lord Van Zeeks has something to hide after all. Yeah, I know. I know what you mean. I know! Let me just save. I'm just checking if I'm not in like the last part of the case. I don't want to like overdo it. Because apparently it's really seamless how they go over like... where is it? What is this? An autopsy report. Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report. I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Order in the court! What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel? The autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not the accused name again. The professor. I personally researched all the court records related to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's soul, and for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Van Zeeks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers to be the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible in the document. As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Kenshin Asogi was guilty of murder. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. He ate it? I thought he died instantly. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor from his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zeeks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court. He isn't happy about it though. A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true. What? Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to
cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and sent him to his death. Oh, so that's what you were thinking all this time. That's outrageous. You were thinking that they faked evidence, the conclusive evidence. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Is Van Six really that powerful in the government? They never really suggested that. He was just a good prosecutor. Hold at once! 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese tenacity of purpose here. Oh no. However, he who fails to squash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. He's emotionally incapable of being a prosecutor in this case. Come on, Kazuma. You know this won't wash. Oh, he's cheering for him. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence. That's nothing more than a wild accusation. As it happens, I have evidence. What? As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. Sorry. But my intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth. What truth? The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged that I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago. What? Secret? I know nothing of any secret. While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my client's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes. Oof. Yeah, you just had to include a little bit illustrious. He very quickly understood what my intention, what my true motive was. Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are ya? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing? Is that it? That will very much depend on the answer you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth. That's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was a professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So, you admit to it then? The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated? It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it? That's right. Even then. So that's when the tip of the sword broke. Oh, Kazuma-sama, I feel more sorry for Karuma. If the results of Clint Vance's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the lead coroner, Wilson, must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Van Zieks. In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize an exchange of assassins. Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange.
See, the problem with that is, why the hell would he send you the son of the thing he's trying to cover up?
So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Baroque Van Zeeks.
I don't know about that, dude.
Kazuma Sogi. What? What you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for the trial 10 years ago? I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. In that case, I know the name of the Reaper. Oh dear me. What?
Lord Van Zeeks.
I gave no such orders. I know that for certain.
Like getting chills! Like chills are running up my neck! Ah!
Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one.
Yeah. Wasn't it the case? Didn't we discuss it in trial? Van Zeeks wasn't supposed to be the prosecutor for that case. He insisted someone, he heckled Strongheart for it to give him the case. Lord Van Zeeks isn't the one behind all this. And yes, there's only one other person who could have done something like that. We should be sweating his booze. I believe I know who it is too.
You.
Just had a feeling this thing was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is... I'm gonna say... I know! I'm kind of mad that they don't have unique lines anymore. But... I'm just gonna test it. If it's something funny, I'll laugh. Oh, pressure. Making it almost impossible to speak with a gargantuan foe. But I can't back away now. There's still time.
What's the matter, Counsel? I take exception to the look you're giving. I take exception at the look you're giving me.
Ah, okay, they wouldn't let me. I was just gathering my thoughts. I'm ready to voice a defense's opinion now.
Very well. But before you do, a penalty for time wasting.
Hey! Hey, that's mean. Because I don't get any fun in that. Okay, fine. They want me to like be in the moment, be serious. This is an uphill battle from here. So. The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is the Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Mael Strongheart.
What? Lord Strongheart?
Yes, it's true that 10 years ago the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks, had been killed.
I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in the British judicial history.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks?
10 years ago, I was very new to my profession, but I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded my court control of the case. The investigation to that point, the supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined. All the evidence I was given The autopsy reports. It all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world by Seishiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey.
Hey, he has his wine back.
The court awaits a response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Considering this a formal accusal by the defense.
Wait, why are you speaking for me?
It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best.
You're not going to defend yourself?
You claim that there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Zyck's autopsy. That's utterly untrue. But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it. And where is your evidence?
What? I mean... Kazuma.
Gregson's dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the sand.
That's for the other games.
You mean to say... I forget how the system works in your little backwater country, but in the court of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything.
Ah! Kazuma, sometimes you need to talk.
Order! Order in the court! Following Inspector Gregson's murder and in light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about events 10 years ago. Is there? So,
well, I mean, Mikotoba and Seed are alive.
So, that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied. I take it there are no objections.
Although they have a lot of objections.
Kazuma.
Akisha! Why is everyone literally dumb? Why is everyone literally just incriminating themselves? Everyone is dumb. I'm sitting here like, the other guy was just, yes, I have oh, this is the last case. This is the finale. People were just like, yes, I attacked him and his corpse was found in my room, but I didn't kill him. And then now we're having like where we are once again exposing government secrets to the public, because that's just a thing we do now. He's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else you can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down and pursue the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Zyck's autopsy. There's some... Mikotoba! And Dr. C! He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks, even so far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Seed won't say anything against Strongheart. Okay, sure, we can get that out. But... Mikotoba... But there's still one ray of hope. Actually, there is one person. He was literally the one who wrote the autopsy report too. One person who could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left. Why are you saying that with such certainty? As if you know. Who, Ryunosuke? Who? Tell me! Okay, hold your horses, boyfriend. I mean best friend. I mean bestie. I mean bestie. Kazuma, Please, this court can't end. Not yet. Beg more. Please. I'm not doing this for you. Ooh. I'm doing it for the truth. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord Van Zix is Mikatoba, but I'm going to save. I'm save's coming. Heavens help me, another Japanese! Dude, your racism is going out. Just because when the trial was going sour, your racism just suddenly jumped out. An expert in forensic medicine, my lord, Professor Eugene Mikatoba, 16 years ago. He came to London with Seishiro Jigoku and Genshin Impact as a visiting student. And what could this testimony possibly tell us? Professor Mikatoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report. Genshin Impact! Yeah, Genshin Impact is a father now. Who would have known? Well, his dad actually, but... Incorrect. The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature. It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it. In other words, Professor Mikatoba witnessed the entire autopsy from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikatoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. Denied. Guilty. The defense's demand is denied. Well, of course you would deny it. You'd lose. What? But Professor Mikatoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes. No, of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself. Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory, as you seem to have forgotten the prosecutor's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange. I did, yes. So, present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete. At this moment, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need the witness testimony. The professor case is closed. There are no clues in the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father. Wow! From racist to going for the gonads. Jesus! Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by a Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seishiro Jigoku. That is such a long title, holy shit, I couldn't read there. As far as any hidden circumstances that may exist, they will be investigated in due course by the proper authorities. Of course they wouldn't be. You're the one in control with the police. But we all know what will happen. That'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean me. Oh, that was a question mark. That wasn't a statement. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word. This futile game of revenge is over. Young Master Asogi, ooh!
young Master Asogi. What? Ooh. Ooh! Grr. I can't do that, sorry. It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. That will be all. I hereby declare this trial to be over. Court is... Yes! Wait, he had a mata. He has a voice line for that. Mr. Sholmes! Wah! This is no place for amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave this courtroom at once. Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seishiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. This court should hear what he has to say. Lord Miles Strongheart, it's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage. Is it really? And why would that be? You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Ripper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it? The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered. It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along with the... what the fuck is that word? Prevarications of your superiors? I really love that Sherlock's main weapon is the fact that he's a public figure. He just used it to his advantage there. Order! Order in the court! It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar. Let us emerge from that shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you, and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now. The auditors in the gallery have no right to express an opinion on the court proceedings. Silence! He's right. The judge has absolute authority here. Yes, if he calls the trial to an end, it must end. But what will that really do? I sense a dark things occurring behind the scenes. Dark things indeed. Is there a single person in this person who can honestly say he doesn't have a... Let's... I really love that Sherlock's... Sherlock's secret weapon is the fact that he can stir up a commotion. The trial should go on. Summon the witness. That's right! We need to learn the Japanese fellows remaining in custody. Ah, fucking god. Ah! Wait, what this face? Wait, his face. He's so cute. He's so cute. Wait, hello? He's so cute here. He's very, very cute. I'm saving these screenshots, by the way. My lord, you assured those present that they would uncover the whole truth here. Vindicate yourself and outlandish the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's the very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery. This is such an opera, I love it. Oops, sorry, I boomed my mic. In the trial, on with the trial, testify, testify, testify. Well, my lord, you heard the voices of British justice, I take it? I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence. The court will recess briefly. I have no intentions of shrinking from these allegations. Bailiff! Arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives in the courthouse, we shall reconvene. A recess won't be necessary, my lord. He's right here! Pardon? Mikatoba is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting at the antechamber as we speak. He is in my pocket! I do believe he's been enjoying a little trip down memory lane, in fact. What? Professor Mikatoba is here in the courthouse? Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you? My dear fellow, no one is in a better position to answer that question than you, surely. I love it when we fucking pan back, I just see an image of Van Zeeks. I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know. Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once. But of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo! Yes. I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you. Absolutely. It's still in my pocket. She sends her regards. And a reminder, if you find yourself in a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please. Oh, of course. In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand. Oh my god, Sherlock and Van Zeeks in the same space! Hi, Dart! So it's Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is the trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom. Ooh, that's his name! And confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under. To be continued! Hi, Dar! But I will have to leave that there. Holy shit, that was so good. I love that. Ooh, that was so intense. Okay, I believe, from my understanding, this is the last case. This is the last part to the last case. We are going to end the main game tomorrow. Oops, sorry, just fixing myself in my chair. Okay, there we go. I lost my tracking too. Ooh, that was... yeah, Dart, I'm so sorry, but that was actually... You really came at a time. Oh my god. That was so good. Oh my god. It got me like everything. It gave me the chills. I got the adrenaline pumping. Oh, and like that last part was so good. When like Strongheart was like desperately trying to like turn their things down or their accusations down, and he sounded commanding but also desperate, if that makes sense, and I really like that. I don't think I could have done it justice with my voice acting, quotation mark voice acting, but oh man, that was so good. And then like the uproar and Sherlock just being there, Sherlock and Van Zix being the same stand, I'm going to die. Also, did anyone see that size difference? Bruhs. Did y'all see that? Ooh, Dart, yes, please. I would absolutely love to show you like the end of this game. I would love to everyone to be there who's been on this long journey with me, because I can't believe it's actually the end. We are actually about to finish it. I've heard it's rather long. Uh oh, thank you so much for the hydrate, John. Okay, I will end that now for today. Thank you all so much to drop by, and God, I really hope to see you all tomorrow for the end of this trial. I am so excited for it. I can barely wait. But yay, Dart! Hope to see you there, because I don't want it to be another 9-hour stream. Okay. Sorry, my nose is all stuffy. I hope nothing goes off like with my internet and shit, because I am so excited for this. Okay,
So I will leave everyone there. Thank you everyone who stopped by. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Same place, same time. Yes, you better be there, final. And that's it for me today. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye. Jane. Mata ne. Exact 10 out. No! No! That's too much. But also I wouldn't mind because yeah, like I'm so attached to this game. I don't want it to ever end. But I hope it gives us the explosive ending we deserve. Okay, bye then. Bye. See y'all tomorrow. I have a countdown on my about me if anyone wants to know the time. Bye bye.